Hey guys, I saw this video on Facebook and I thought it'd be a good one to do some reaction to. So let's get into this and see what happens here.
Just because you drop your ash on the ground, that's actually a violation of Michigan law. The ash? Yes, sir. It's actually a fire hazard. I'll pick it up. Can I get your ID, please? Yes, sir. I'll pick it up. DNR law says it's littering violation.
So I picked it up and put it away.
Nope. Can I get your ID real quick?
Really?
Yes, sir. Please. It's a violation law. Just like if you're speeding, just because you slow down, doesn't mean you
So
didn't
you're
violate
saying
the law.
that ashes off a cigarette
100%
are a
of it,
violation?
sir. Yes.
Okay, well, if you remember one thing that I talked about in one of the last videos on contracts, everything, everything that a cop says, everything a cop does, every twitch of his ass, every wiggle of a nose hair is an offer to contract. So right now, this cop is offering to contract with this brother, and the brother's accepting the offer.
It's a fire hazard in the state of Michigan. It's also considered littering.
A fire hazard on concrete.
Yes, sir. State of Michigan is considered a fire hazard.
Really?
And, well, just to assume that the state of Michigan actually exists beyond a stack of paper with ink on it and talking about it as if it's some kind of real entity is really it's a big flaw. It's a big fallacy. You don't want to be doing that.
Yeah. Maybe he'll tell us why the state police were rolling through in the SWAT vehicle.
Probably.
You know, maybe he's going in to partake. Oh, there's the Delphi. How's it going?
Who's all excited over here?
This lady right here.
Okay.
We tried to explain to her there's no expectation of privacy.
Well, why would you explain anything to anybody anyway? Do you have an obligation to explain yourself? I don't think so.
Well, that's how you create privacy.
How's it going?
Not bad. Making movies?
Something like that.
I'm Officer Clark.
How's it going?
Not too bad.
How you doing?
Tater salad.
What is it? Tater salad? Are you tater salad?
No. That wouldn't be funny
That's
though.
right, right?
That's funny though.
Making some videos and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, it was funny. We were just walking by, and she said, "You can't record me," and we didn't think much of it. We went in here, and they gave us first one.
Is it pretty nice? I haven't been in there yet.
It's
Yeah,
actually
it's cool.
Is it?
Pretty cool.
a little smelly.
Not surprising.
You're right.
Yeah.
But then we were walking back this way, and she said, "Aren't you going to wait for the cops?" We're like, "Oh, yeah, sure." We don't want to think we're running from them, you know. I tried to explain to her, you know, there's no expectation of privacy in public. And we weren't purposely trying to record her until she said something. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Let him take her.
Give me the badge number.
Officer Clark, 397.
Cool.
We gave him
Now, one thing I will say that this guy is doing good, and that is he's not being belligerent. He's not cussing the cops out. He's not raising his voice. He's not talking shit to them, which I see that so often. And I don't think that's the best way to approach it. And yes, I know a lot of people get away with it. But really, come on. Be better than them. If they're total shitheads, that's one thing. But why lower yourself to their level?
I got a car.
Oh, no, we don't need it.
That's. Thank you, man.
So what was the state police SWAT rolling through town for?
I don't tell us the state
Oh,
police.
you guys don't
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, 'cause they come through with lights and sirens.
I was wondering what that said.
There's still District 7 over here, right? MSP District 7, I think. What was it? I think it's all the, like above West Branch. Okay.
I think if you can do anything on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is what we do. We educate people. You know, usually it's we get to talk to them and educate them that way, but sometimes it ends up this way.
Gotcha. You guys do it independently? Yeah. You guys have YouTube?
Yep. YouTube and Facebook.
You guys have cards that says what?
I do.
I'm not that professional, but yeah.
Do you have separate YouTubes or are they the same?
Separate,
Can I
yeah.
get your YouTube?
Yeah, sure. It's a De Facto Media Group.
De facto?
Sure, yep.
DE?
Yep, FACTO, and then Media Group. And you'll be able to identify me through that, I'm sure.
Oh, okay.
You'll be able to identify me. The word identification means the same as. I don't know if the video is the same as the real thing.
That's quite the cuff rig you got there.
Oh, yeah. Taco cuffs. That's what they call
Oh, okay.
I got some other.
I got a question for you. Now, that's a plate carrier, right? Okay, now that would be, it's not. Oh, that's an actual bullet. Oh, okay. Because if you're wearing a plate carrier without plates, it's useless, right? Okay, that's what I thought.
It's not considered an armored vest.
Unless it's got soft armor or something.
Soft armor, right? Any kind of that's going to protect against ballistic injury. Okay, that makes
Like I have
sense.
a tactical vest, but it has no plating or nothing. It is my when I get a cop coming up, what's your name? Right here. You know how they always like to do that. It started out shitty, but now it's beautiful. And, yeah.
Oh, for
I was
sure.
driving up in the rain. I had to stop. It was raining, so during hard to see it. My wipers on high.
Where are you driving up from?
How about Lansing?
Lansing? Cool. What brought you up here then?
Doing this.
Doing this? Just jump. You guys move from town to town or what?
I've been damn near everywhere in Michigan,
Really?
except only part of it.
Not to mention the other states.
Yeah, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana.
Fairly close to where you're at.
Yeah. I went to Washington, D.C. on damn near trip. That was crazy.
How was that? Crazy. Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
You get a lot of footage there too?
Yep. Yeah, it was nuts, man. They were beating down the doors to the Capitol building there, trying to gain access. It was insane. Pepper spray, canisters flying everywhere. Yeah, it was nuts.
Engaging cops in this much conversation is risky. I don't know that it's necessarily bad, but anytime that you make any claims, they can use that shit against you. Cops are claim hunters. That's their whole job. If I was this guy, I would be maybe asking them some questions more, but I wouldn't be just rambling on.
Even some reporters actually went inside the building.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not that stupid.
They just charged the guy in TC for that day. Literally like a week or two ago. It's still going.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever. Yeah. Keep going.
Right?
See, this guy had already been
You guys
smoking.
pretty
He
busy
had
out
the
here this
cigarette in
summer?
his hand, but he's no longer got it in his hand.
Steady. We always have. We're always busy with something.
So he's probably discarded the butt on the floor. Or on the deck.
Hey guys, De Facto Media Group. So this video is in Kalkaska, Michigan. I'm out here with Michigan Constitutional Crusader, and I stopped the video right here because you can see in his left hand he has a cigarette butt. And I want you to pay attention and see that he actually puts his butt in his pocket. Now watch how the cop escalates from here.
Okay, so he does actually move it. So there you go. He did actually even put the cigarette butt in his pocket. So he did not actually violate the litter law with that part. Litter law. There's no such thing.
This line of work with today's velocity when you drop your ash on the ground, that's actually a violation of Michigan law.
The ash?
Yes, sir. It's actually a fire hazard. And
I'll pick it up.
can I get your ID, please? A tag. Yes, sir.
I picked it up.
DNR law says it.
And again, here we go. You know, he's going to start offering the contract, and you don't have to accept the offer. You just don't have to. You can pick up the ashes, and that's it.
It's littering violation.
So I picked it up and put it away.
Nope. Can I get your ID real quick?
Really?
Yes.
And right here, what you just start doing is you start asking who's claiming that there's a problem. Simply put, just start asking this cop who's putting up the claim that there's a problem. He's going to say, oh, it's the state of Michigan. Great. When can I talk to the state of Michigan? Can we get the state of Michigan down here right now so I can talk to it, so he can tell me firsthand that I just violated the so-called law? And see, the real problem here is, in order for there to be a violation of this so-called code or statute, you would have had to have had a contract with the state. And of course, if you let them slide on that, they'll get away with it. But the reality is, if you stand on it strong, they've got to prove they've got a contract with you that you violated.
Yes, sir. Please. It's a violation law. Just like if you're speeding, just because you slow down, doesn't mean you
So
didn't
you're
violate the
saying
law.
that Ash
What do you mean by speeding? What's speeding, and who's claiming anything like that?
is off a cigarette
100%
or a
of it, sir.
violation?
Yes, it's a fire hazard in the state of Michigan. It's also considered littering.
A fire hazard on concrete.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by littering? What do you mean by fire hazard?
Really?
Yes, sir.
Really want to go down this route?
I'm gonna go through
There
here.
it is. That's all. I'm recording as well. That's
I'm gonna live stream.
good. I can try to do that. You might look up to more than once, but
And see, this guy's going to go ahead and give him his so-called ID. Bad mistake. As soon as you hand them their so-called ID, he's going to ask them, are you such and such name? He's going to answer yes. Bet you. Just watch. He's going to say yes. As soon as you say yes to that, they've got you. Because they own the name, claim to be the name, they own you now too.
What law would that be called?
Michigan fire hazard and Michigan littering.
And who's calling it that? When can I meet the claimant?
You know what the code is for that?
Hey guys, I'm out here with Michigan Constitutional Crusader. We got Kalkaska Police trying to come up with some bullshit ordinance about some cigarette ashes. We need you to call Kalkaska County Sheriff, Kalkaska City Police.
What is he? Showing him something on his phone. Can't see what that is.
I don't need to hear your mouth right now. Come over here and act all nice.
Environmental protection.
Fire hazard. Safety violation.
nothing that can burn. It's not a fire hazard. You're grasping at straws.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
That's those young cops for you. They don't care about service. They care about feelings and enforcing bullshit laws.
Yeah, this cop may be grasping at straws, and yeah, he might be reaching a bit, but the reality is, had he been asked the right questions, this probably would have already been over with, and the cop would be walking away.
Can I please get your ID?
Right there, get an ID. What do you mean by ID? Simple question. What do you mean by ID? I'm led to believe the word ID or identify is to be identical as something. Well, I don't know that I would be identical to a piece of plastic with an engraven image on it. Pretty sure I'm not. But if you want to believe that you are and you hand over a piece of plastic and say, here you go, and they'll even ask you, is this you? Of course this is not you. How the fuck can you be a piece of plastic? Check a little bit.
Yes, sir.
So that's unenforceable then.
No, sir.
Well, yeah.
Everybody drives down the road
You're
and
just picking
speeds.
and choosing who you're gonna.
Everybody drives down the road and speeds, but us speeding and we get everybody.
Everybody drives down the road and speeds. Everybody does that. Who the fuck is everybody? Seriously, who the fuck is everybody?
Cigarette action not listed in there.
Or any other degree.
Sir, I'm going to place you under arrest for citizen's arrest for trying to enforce an enforceable law that's unconstitutional and doesn't exist. I will place you under citizen's arrest, sir.
Can I speak to the LP?
He is busy speaking on the email.
I'd like to report a crime, and I'd like a supervisor.
Supervisor's right there.
Perfect. You can meet him for me then.
He is in the process of doing something else.
I'd like to speak to him before I leave.
Yeah, he doesn't know what to do. Yeah, it's not. It's not in there. It's a bullshit law.
I can see the fuel cigarette butt now. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's no way. It specifically says cigarette butts, which is paper and fiberglass. Well, I guess we'll be back.
Now, that's one of those things, too, that when it comes to these so called code statutes, regulations, and all, this shit's all ambiguous. It's all ambiguous. I don't give a fuck what word it is. Question that shit. Make them fucking define their words. They can't. Number one, none of these cops have ever written any of these so-called code statutes or regulations, so they can't possibly know for a fact what's in the mind of the actual writer, the actual author. And a prime example is this. If I write a piece of legislation, a code statute, whatever, and I use the word gray, and intentionally I use the word gray without defining what shade of gray, I'm actually thinking the darkest shade of gray, knowing that when most people read this, they're going to think of a medium shade of gray. I've already deceived most people. It is that simple. If I wanted to deceive, I can deceive you very easily. Well, the reality of it is, too, even if I'm thinking of a dark shade of gray and I don't define it, if these cops don't ever ask me, how the fuck are they going to know whether or not I meant dark shade, light shade, medium shade? Who the fuck are they to just automatically guess what fucking shade I meant?
That's for sure. What's that? Appreciate it. Yeah. Yep, call him right now. Kalkaska. Kalkaska.
So he's saying I littered because of cigarette ashes. I kept the cigarette pack. I didn't drop it off. And he's saying my ashes is litter. How is that litter? It's ashes. He's trying to say I broke the law, which I didn't. If that were the case, then everybody that walks down a public street with a cigarette is breaking the law and nobody's getting a ticket for it.
What it comes down to is you want his ID. You want to be in control.
Now, that all very well may be true, but the reality is to even say I didn't break the law, well, how the fuck do you know for sure? Again, it's all ambiguous. How the fuck would you know for sure that you didn't? This is the reason why you want to ask the goddamn questions. Fuck.
What threat to safety has been? You're power hungry and you're a threat to this community is what it is. This is the kind of things we're out looking for. It's guys like you that need to be off the force.
And they even scooped up the ashes.
Unbelievable.
And put them in that receptacle right there.
I can't believe it. You guys swore an oath to the Constitution. You're aware of that, right? I mean, LT, come on. This is ridiculous, honestly. We're out here exercising our First Amendment right, and he's smoking a cigarette as he has the right to do it because there's ash. Your young cop over here is power hungry and wants to get his ID. What's the point of that other than power and control?
What difference does it make? Seriously, what difference does it make?
Stop right here. First off, you clearly see the LT's reaction, shaking his head in agreement, and then making eye contact with the cop we're talking about, motioning for him to come back so they can go talk. So, I mean, we have to recognize the LT here. It looks like, we probably have a pretty constitutional police force, but,
There is no such thing as a constitutional police force. Constitution doesn't exist. And this is why some of these need to be reacted to, because people keep thinking that there's a constitution, and I know that they're trying to work the angle from the fact that there's supposed to be this constitution, but you got to realize that there is no constitution. It doesn't fucking exist.
Oh, it's one cop that makes a difference, and this is clearly what's going on here. Let's see what goes on.
So now the lieutenant and the young cop get into the car. How funny.
It's not a physical element. That's ridiculous. Good luck in court. That's a lawsuit.
An ash off the cigarette, that's totally different.
Right.
Exactly. Smoking a cigarette? Are you serious right now?
I'm asking a question.
No.
I'm like saying,
What?
we're taking something.
But that's a law. I'm sure there's laws that restrict burning trash for, obvious reasons with the atmosphere.
What I'm just saying is, if you had a whole bag of cigarettes and it was burnt, and it was on the side of the road, and it was a big pile of ash, is it different because it's just one or a whole?
I think it's a bad comparison
Oh,
because it's
God.
not really.
This cop's
you're
trying to
talking about
justify
something different than
the
someone just
bullshit.
smoking a cigarette on their own free time versus a pile of trash on the side of the road that's getting burned for some reason.
Okay, so if that same person, I'm just asking questions.
It just doesn't make sense. That's something that, yeah.
You did it in the same spot. Now, we've all seen where people have flicked cigarette butts in the same spot. It's a big pile of cigarettes.
He didn't flick.
No, I'm just saying. If you were doing that and you flicked your ashes and say the wind never blew and the rain never rained, and it was a big pile of ash.
This cop is just trying to justify his bullshit and trying to back up his buddy. They essentially fucked up. They shouldn't have fucking said anything. They should have let it go. Should have let the guy do his First Amendment fucking audit. But yet the cops couldn't let things go because it's kind of what cops are. But they're claimant hunters and they're looking to see what they can find.
The taxpayers are paying for this is pretty ridiculous, honestly.
Actually, and that's another thing too. Taxpayers don't pay for fuck all. Every bit of so-called taxes that go in now only pay the so-called interest on the debt. There is nothing that is paid out today that came from taxpayer money yesterday. Came from loans yesterday. All taxes pay the fucking interest. Go read the fucking Grace Commission report. It'll tell you exactly what you need to know about where taxes go.
I mean, we have 3 cops for someone flicking an ash. Well, you guys were here beforehand, and you already wanted our IDs. You got our cards. You can easily go identify us. Okay, but obviously you're the one that tried to pull a bogus charge.
It is a violation of Michigan littering law.
But you don't know it.
I do not know.
But then how can you try it?
Off the top of your head, sir.
Not all of them, but a good amount of them.
And this is the funny thing too. They showed up because of this woman allegedly complaining about being on camera, and they never really talk about any of that at all. Not once have they talked about that.
Ash. Cigarette ash, not a window.
You think the taxpayers want to pay for that?
Just letting you know, sir. It is a violation of law.
And what's a fucking taxpayer? There's a fucking claim and a half. Look that fucking word up. Look up what's a fucking taxpayer. See if you fit the description.
It's also a verbal warning for your failure to identify to. Okay, sir.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
Any other questions for me today?
Nope.
You guys take care. You guys have a good day. Keep doing what you're doing.
I think you can go suck a big
watch
dick.
those videos, so I think they are good.
Well, you should watch them, and you should learn from them too. Unreal.
And I don't know if you have your service or not, but thanks for your service.
Unreal. Don't try that good stuff with me.
There might be another one.
I don't know.
Use your cameras last night. I love it.
I got
that one right
Is it GoPro?
And see, obviously this one turned out for the best because the guy is ultimately going to walk away, didn't get cited. The lieutenant showed up, explained things to everybody, and decided that it was probably best to let this guy go because it probably would end up into a lawsuit and he would win, probably get a little bit of so-called money, and yeah, then this police force would have a little bit of a smudge on their so-called record. And yeah, not good. So anyway, there you go. Thanks for watching. Share, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.